I'm beating every N64 game, and I mean all of them. The twist is, the next game I play is randomly selected, so I have no clue what's coming next. This is the journey to beating every N64 game. Hey, welcome to another episode. If you do enjoy this video, consider giving it a like, as it does help the channel a lot. And if you like this series, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on the next one. Last week we stretched our shoulder out a lot, and this week we're battling robots. Game number 29, Super Robot Spirits. Released in 1998, this game was developed and published by Presto. Oh man, here we go. I previously was leaving out Japanese exclusive games from my list because my old EverDrive couldn't play many of them, but I did get the newest model which can play them, like Animal Crossing. This is one such Japanese exclusive game. There's something it's just kind of cool about it, you know? If you lived outside of Japan, you probably would have never known this game existed. Like, there's literally no way you would have ever played it. So playing these Japanese exclusive games, it's kind of neat. There is a catch though. Since these are only released in Japan, and people in Japan speak Japanese as you might expect, these games are only in the Japanese language. For about 15 of these games, dedicated fan bases have released translation patches for them into other languages, that's amazing. I really appreciate that. And I'll be using them. For the 70 or so others, no such luck. So you might be thinking, well, how do you plan to play these? Do you know Japanese? I literally don't know how to recognize a single character in any of the character sets for Japanese. I'd love to learn someday, but it's not something you just learn over the weekend. It takes a long time. Thankfully, it's the future, and we have technology. There's a very neat app called Papago, which I believe was created to help Korean people living in the US understand things better. Fortunately for me, it's kinda decent at translating Japanese to English, and it can do it by detecting characters in an image. People are probably gonna comment, oh my god, just use Google Lens. It can do the job, but it spits out nonsense most of the time. It's not very good at translating Japanese, like it's really only good at translating Latin-based languages like Spanish or something. This app's decent at translating Japanese, but it's not perfect. So if you see me holding my phone awkwardly during any footage, that's me translating the text. I also have a few very generous people in my stream who help me understand it. Anyway, with that out of the way, let's get into this game. The game apparently only sold 9,000 copies, and being a Japanese exclusive, I imagine it's very unlikely anyone watching this video has played this. The main single-player game mode in this is story mode, so we'll be completing that to beat this game. The first thing we do is pick our character and their robot. The robots sure look a lot like the ones from Gundam Wing. Maybe the lore is associated with that show? I don't know. I ended up going with the fifth choice because in the image it was a person along with a fairy. Two-player advantage, it's gotta work, right? It then shows like a cutscene with the robot flying into a field, then it goes into the main story. The game gives us a giant lore dump, however it went away too quickly for me to be able to translate some of it. The gist of it is, from the broken translation I got, is something bad's going down at this place called the Bison Well, and someone named Drake is behind it. We have to get there through the Aura Road or something like that. Turns out there's actually a pretty heavy storyline to this game. It shows some dialogue between our character and the fairy with us. We're like trying to figure out where we are, but we're not really sure. It seems like home, but something's not right. Apparently our character's name is Sho, by the way. It sounds like Sho's parents don't believe him that there's trouble afoot, so then we head out to our super robot. Also, disclaimer, this explanation of the lore may be completely wrong, cause I can't read what it says. I'm just going off the app. Turns out the game also has gameplay. It's a 1 versus 1 fighting game with mechs. It's kinda cool, honestly. My mech is the white one with the purple wings, if you can't tell. The game's kind of wild for a fighting game. You can fight on the ground like normal, but the robots can also fly and fights happen in the air. My robot also has a giant sword to use. You also might notice a small meter under the health bars. That's the spirit meter. You can build up spirit during the fight and then use it to launch special attacks. However, I never really figured out how it works because it's kinda complex and the manual's all in Japanese. This first fight's incredibly easy. The CPU barely knows how to fight back. Probably the game acting like a tutorial or something just to get you used to it. So first fight, easy win. So now we go on to episode 2. You know, this image for the fairy companion of ours sure looks a lot like Nurse Joy in Pokemon. maybe it is her. Some more lore dump. We experienced some light, which we think might be the Aura Road and can help us get to the Bison Well. Just when we're trying to figure out what's going on, some guy shows up and wants to investigate our robot. We try to avoid confrontation with him, but it's useless. Apparently our robot is pretty suspicious. So on to another fight. This guy's a much more experienced robot in that he actually attacks back. I was just button mashing still honestly, but you can see some of the cool moves that can be done with the spirit if you get used to it. The button mashing worked great, cause the game was still easy, another fight down. More lore time. We think he mistook us for someone else, but he wouldn't believe us about our journey anyway. Things look different here than we imagined. Something's not right. All of a sudden, some dude named Domon shows up. He shows us a picture and asks if we know the person in it, but we just got here, so we have no way of knowing who that is. He says he doesn't believe us and he's going to get our answer by force. Time for fight number 3. This fight is where I discovered the best strat for beating the AI. Literally mash the kick button till they're dead. Dude, is the strat just spam kicks? The high kicks deal so much damage and the CPU just struggles to stop me from doing it for some reason. Like, the difficulty was on medium by default, so it's not even easy. Like, it could have been even easier. With my thumb pressing one single button over and over, I won with no sweat. Why is this working? More lore. So we need to rest after that huge fight, and we still don't know why everyone thinks we're their enemy. Then some new guy shows up, and he's in agreement with us over something. His name is Jiron, and he wants us to work together. Apparently he's getting chased around by everyone just like us. He says the aura stuff we've been seeing is from Betsunoishi. Apparently those bad guys are coming towards us, so Jiron has an amazing idea. He thinks we should fight each other so neither of us look like an enemy? I don't know, dude. This plan sucks, but I guess we'll go with it. All I do is kick, kick, kick no matter what. Yeah, the kick move is kinda busted. Lore time! Yeah, honestly the battles are so short, the lore is the main part of this video, but hey, the lore is amazing, right? So Sho is wondering why the heck we had to fight Jiron. Dude, don't worry, I don't know either. Jiron seems dumb. We're kind of worried that Drake guy is going to find out about us. He's the villain, remember? Out of nowhere, some dude named Ryusei shows up. He seems sketch and he's totally out for blood. He says he likes our story, but he needs a favor. He's trying to collect some combat data for training and, well, yeah, you know where this is going. Hopefully Ryusei can collect the data he needs from this fight. You know, that mashing the kick button is literally the only move you need to beat anybody. Guess now there's some enemies chasing us, so Ryusei is going to hold them off for us while we go on. Now some dude with braids and a very straight mustache shows up. He straight up says he wants to take over and be the Devil Gundam. This dude is definitely a villain. Sho feels like he's not quite evil, but he's definitely borderline. Sho's gonna get himself killed if he keeps trusting all these sketchy dudes. This fight actually shows like a big intro cutscene for the devil dude, which it never did that before. It calls him the Master Gundam. He may be the master of Gundams, but is he the master of high kicks like me? Somehow, I actually managed to lose the second round to this guy. Looks like he actually knows how the controls work. Either way, kicks are too strong. Yeah, get wrecked, Master Gundam. More like Master Dum Dum. Now this dude is all like, whoa, I underestimated you, buddy. Yeah, underestimated these feet. Now some dude with way too nice of hair shows up. With hair like that, you know he's trouble. Sho comments on how big his robot is, and apparently his name is Manjo. He's talking about fighting some dude named Judeca, like, who the heck is that? What happened to Drake? Anyway, he wants to fight, because that's what literally everybody in this game wants. This guy's robot had like a fan, like you know how you blow air on yourself with, and a giant trident. Kicking was starting to work a bit less as the computer was getting better, but it was still good enough. Manjo never stood a chance. Now Manjo makes up the excuse that he was just trying to test our power. Yeah, sure buddy, just admit it, you got your butt kicked. He says the Earth is facing its biggest crisis yet, and we need to work together to defeat Judeca. Shows like, dude, I'm just trying to get to the Bison Well. I don't have time to fight Judeca. But Manjo calls us selfish, and yeah, I guess we should try to help the Earth. Can't get to the Bison Well if Earth gets destroyed. Apparently the plan is to go to South America and defeat the Devil Gundam there. So off to South America we go. I think we were in Tokyo before? Not sure honestly. Guess the robots here haven't learned about the hot new fighting strat over in Japan. Just use your feet. Our fairy companion, Cham, is upset that we're trying to save the world, but she doesn't understand that if Earth is destroyed, so is the Bison Well. Like, it's really simple logic. Now all the dudes we previously fought show up and say there's a robot invasion coming led by Judeca. Like, where is Drake? I thought he was the villain. Now some pink-haired person shows up. Maybe they're Judeca? Not sure honestly. Show can tell that they're evil and they need to be stopped. This is it, the final battle with Judeca. I don't know where we are or how we got here, but this fight's just like in a black abyss. And Judeca's robot is crazy looking, like it's like a wild scorpion thing or something. I want mine to look like that. This fight was kind of laggy, I think because the enemy robot's so big. Unfortunately for me, kicking was not quite as broken for this fight. It seemed like the AI got smarter as the game went on, and this one was the toughest yet. I was doing pretty well in round 2, but then Judeca did this wild attack where it showed the picture of them from before, then there were energy pulses shooting up from the ground. It took almost all my health in one attack. Then they did like a counter attack or something? I don't know, it was a new animation I hadn't seen before, and then I was dead. Thankfully, when you die, you can just continue over and over until you beat it. Not gonna lie, I was a bit worried it would take me all the way back to the start or something like that. Ultimately though, kicks were my friend in the end. After a few attempts, I managed to kick Judeca enough to blow them up. Now Judeca's picture has changed and they like have shorter hair for some reason. Judeca commends us on our great power. Yeah, I totally knew what I was doing there. Judeca reveals in a huge plot twist their name is actually Levi, and they come from the past to get data from super robots, saying they need the data to save the planet. But Sho isn't having any of it and calls their bluff. We know you're the invader, buddy. Levi says they run the Earth defense system in the future and they have no reason to invade Earth in the past. It shows like a cutscene where Levi's robot blows up in this massive explosion, then the final lore dump. Everyone is shocked at how big the explosion is, and Sho thinks he can see the Bison Well because of it. I think like this robot blew up and it somehow transported us back home to the Bison Well. Or something along those lines. I don't know, this game's lore is really weird, but it could just be the translations being bad. But yeah, then the credits roll and game complete. I think you get new storylines by playing with other characters, but I'd consider that 100% completion. So there you have it, my journey to beating super robot spirits. This game seemed like it could be cool, but the fighting was a bit too complex for me to figure out. The language barrier probably played a big part in that honestly, but it was harder than how it should have been, I think. Thankfully, the kicks were an easy strat to help us win. The lore being added was neat, but it wasn't all that interesting. I did like the graphics though. I gave it a 4 out of 10 for enjoyability and a 2 out of 10 for difficulty, only because the final boss took more than one try. But yeah, if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching, I really appreciate it. If you did enjoy the video, consider giving it a like as it does help out a lot. And if you like this series, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on the next one. But yeah, thank you for watching, and here's a sneak peek at what is coming next. There are currently 356 games on the list. Could be anything. 3, 2, 1. 110. No! No! Oh no! This is the Japanese dating sim.